everybody. I want to welcome you out to another episode of Lost in the 80s. I'm Johnny B.
And I'm Bretman.
And I'm K-Rod, sitting in with these guys. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, we're happy to have you, man. You've got some good input this particular recording session. Let's just say that.
That's right.
It's been a pleasure hanging out in this incredible studio with you guys. This is awesome, man. This is new.
Yes. This studio is brand new, and we're excited to be here. I think we're going to do great things here, and hopefully, we can do more and more of these.
There's more room for activities.
Exactly.
For activities.
But, one of the reasons why Bretman and I wanted to have K-Rod on is because, dude, you're somewhat of an expert. At least we consider you to be an expert in these, in the 80s rock music.
You have a little experience with music. Let's just
That's
say
right.
that.
I grew up with my mom. I grew up with my mom pumping Woodstock music in one ear and my dad pumping Motown in the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I developed this love for music when I was very little. When I was a kid, I grew up, I was making mixtapes, just like everybody else. But all of a sudden, I'm memorizing songs, I'm memorizing lyrics and whatnot. And all of a sudden, the 80s came around and I was a huge fan. And then something happened. I was really into Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Commodores and whatnot, who are great bands, by the way. I was really in the funk scene. I love Gap Band and all that. And my brother introduces me to Van Halen. And I found his vinyl album, and he was so pissed. I'm going to use that word. He was so pissed at me because my brother and I found it, and we scratched it. I know.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, you guys
Desecrating
I
Van Halen, man.
I know. And we didn't mean to, but it wasn't bad enough. It was it's everything skip, but that's how much he loved.
Yeah.
He got it as vinyl, and he knew, and it was but I became just this 80s, metal fan, hair band fan, and and that's just, we're talking about, we've been featuring our favorite intros, our favorite guitar intros or intros to songs. I have a lot of favorite intros to different music, but one of my favorite is the one we're going to play here in just a second, is the one we're going to play next. It was just raw. It was nasty. It was my favorite guitar intro for this song because I still remember when I first heard it. And I'll let you know a little more about it, but we're going to kick it off. Let's just go ahead and play it. It's Ratt, Lay It Down. Just nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Man. So raunchy.
Yeah.
The band was wrong.
That's true.
Well,
What'd you call sleaze rock?
Sleaze rock.
this kind of music just takes me back to junior high. It was, and the thing that was crazy is that this was almost like forbidden fruit, if you know what I mean.
Right.
You didn't want your mom and dad knowing you were listening
Well,
to
the
this
good thing was they couldn't understand the words anyway.
That's true. Very true.
But if they saw the cover to Invasion of Your Privacy album,
They got me that for Christmas one year, and they never asked questions. I was so surprised.
I love your parents.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. Yes. What's this song about?
Baseball, laying down a bunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Under the sheet. Is this a clan meeting? Under the sheets you will find me.
Nothing's for free.
Wow.
You take what's good for you.
Oh, such a cool lyric.
Okay, you can pause her there.
Man.
Okay, so it's raw, it's nasty, it's Warren DeMartini on one guitar, and on the other you have Robin Crosby, who's just Stephen Pearcy, and
Bobby
Ballsy
Blotzer.
Bobby Blotzer on the drums, and Juan Lucier, and these guys were just naughty. They were but I just loved the sound. And the first time I heard that song was on Headbangers Ball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Headbangers Ball.
Featuring a new song, blah, 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 the Invasion of Your Privacy album. Here you go, and Ricky Rackman was on there.
Good old Ricky
Rackman.
And I heard
Ricky.
The video came out. There's the clown, there's the kid, and make your wish. Don't forget to make your wish. And that clown looks and then just spirals, and then that nasty guitar lick hits. And I was just like, wow.
So what was the kid's wish?
I don't know, but you notice the kid's name was Steven.
Oh,
You
yeah?
notice that who's the lead singer, Stephen Piercy. Yeah, so
Make your wish, Stephen.
He's the kid, yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay. So Stephen
Yeah.
Piercy, he was just nasty anyway. But I heard that and I was like, wow. And my buddies were coming to pick me up. We were going to go hang out or whatever. And I'm like, we didn't have cell phones.
Right.
So they're at the door. And I'm like, hold on. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
my one buddy was really into metal too. He comes in, he's like, holy, what's it? I was like, this is Ratt's doing, shut up. You know, so we just listen to their song and I'm like, wow. Next day, Budget Tapes and Records.
boom.
Invasion of your privacy and all that.
Uh-huh.
Getting the cassette tape. And I just remember, I mean, and I love the whole album. I mean, there was great albums. I mean, Out of the Cellar was fantastic. And I mean, but just that riff and that guitar. See, I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing.
Well, and the other thing too, what I love about this music is it's not just the music. Like when you talk about this, you remember those kids you grew up with. But you remember, because like I wasn't necessarily into this music, but I had a ton of friends that were.
And a cousin.
That's
right.
And so when I hear this music, all of those memories of those guys that I grew up with come back, because this was their music and we all shared it together.
And this was so great because Ratt, they blew up when Round and Round was released, right? That was, I mean, and that's their when your debut album comes out and you blow up right away, you know you're meant for success. I mean, Ratt, for the better part of the 80s, dominated the charts with a lot of hits. I mean, Kelly, you know how many songs they had.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're wearing the band that got them started. You know that, right?
Van Halen.
They were at San Diego, and Steven and Robin were getting this band together, and they're like, you know, well, let's go see what it is. This LA scene is supposed to be huge. You know, the Whiskey Go-Go, which is where if you were going to be an 80s metal band, you had to play the whiskey. Yeah, you had to play the whiskey. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're like, they watched Van Halen, and they were like, we need to be here. So they moved there, and then this guy named Warren DeMartini, who's a guitarist, is going to college in San Diego. And Steven calls him, and he's like, hey, man, you got to come and play with us. And he's like, oh, you know, well, maybe I'll finish out the semester and everything. Steven's like, no, tonight. So Warren DeMartini moves there and never came back. You know, I mean, and, you know, the rest to kind of say is rock and roll history. But, you know, so you can keep playing a little bit more of that.
I just got to say, before I do, you know, there's a lot of bands that have guitar tandems. You know, Scorpions, Judas Priest,
Tesla.
Yeah,
Night Ranger.
Ratt, like you said, Warren DeMartini and Robin Crosby. There was just some chemistry with those two that just, I don't know, every time I hear their music, it's like after Robin passed away and, you know, they brought in Carlos Cavazo from Quite Right. Fantastic, still great music, but you just miss that element of Robin not being there. And unfortunately, he passed away due to AIDS back in the day, but...
Yeah, he suffered from, you know, drug abuse and whatnot. He went in a downward spiral, but that raw, I mean, that guitar that they did, like You're in Love was, you know, lack of communication. I mean, they had all these songs that were just like, whoa, like Body Talk. You know, off of, oh my gosh, that, you know, just, oh my gosh, they had just some really, you know, naughty riffs that were fantastic and awesome. And this happened to be one of my favorites.
It is fantastic. We better finish it, huh? If you're not singing along with this one right now at home, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
And Balser was a great drummer too. Underrated.
Lots of very underrated. I saw that when they came here a few years ago at Rockfest, and you know, when Blotser's version of Ratt, but it was just him and other guys. But you know, they played a lot of the hits, and they were all really good. But with that band, there's chemistry with certain bands, man. And you know, these guys that performed, they did great jobs. But without the original boys playing, I saw Ratt reunited when they first reunited like 12 years ago. Other than Carlos Cavazo playing guitar for them, and I think Robbie Crane was bass, but that magic was there again, you know.
Once again, Warren DeMartini.
There it is. Very underrated guitarist, in my opinion, for the day.
Well, it's just great music because, like I said, when I saw them, it was only the drummer that was the original member, but the music was still great, you know.
Everyone was still up and singing and dancing, and you know. And if music, that's what music's for, man. If you get you up singing and dancing along, it's done its job.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, but I mean, I see him in concert on the Invasion of Your Privacy tour, and it was just like, I mean, but they were bigger than life.
Yeah.
Right.
These shows were bigger than I really. If you missed out, I mean, you really did miss out on 80s metal shows. I mean, if you missed the hair band shows, because they were a show.
Well, it was a production.
It was it was incredible. I mean, my favorite band of all time. I'm wearing the shirt, Motley Crue. You know, but my second favorite is Ratt, and it was just I mean, that fantastic song, Invasion of Your Privacy. You know, the Dancing Undercover was their next one, and everybody kind of was like, you know, their album sales started to slip more and more all the time. But they still had those few songs, that stuck out. They were always good on the album. You're like, okay, maybe the rest, because most of their albums, the first few, every song was good.
Right.
And you get to a few others, okay, you know, and, but I mean, just that one right there. I mean, when you know where you are, when you hear that riff and even my metal buddies, I mean, we're out or if we play a song or, all we got to do is that just barely get started, and they're like, "Oh,
That's how it should be, man." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Invasion of Privacy is probably my favorite album of theirs too. I mean,
Mine too.
I loved Out of the Cellar. Don't get me wrong, but Invasion of Your Privacy, you know, aside from the girl on the cover, was nice too. But there's not a song on there that just doesn't hook you. You know, like you said, their first few albums, all of them are great, and I can listen to them all over and over again and never get tired.
Like Regulator, Way Cool Jr.
Oh, that's probably my favorite one, Way Cool Jr. It's bluesier, but it's just so cool.
I Want a Woman, and
I Want a Woman, another great song, Yeah,
I mean, they just did, but I mean, like you said, the guitar tandem and you know, what happened with Robin was so bad. It just kind of fell off the way, and nobody really kind of paid attention.
Right.
Everybody was like, oh, you know, what's going on? All of a sudden. And then, you know, if you watch the behind the music when only Juan Lucier, you know, the bass player, only Juan was the one who reached out.
Right.
He was
that's unfortunate.
But it was when he was on his last.
Yeah, he was on his deathbed there. Yeah.
And he goes, I was there for the beginning. Where were these guys? You know, and it's sad, but that's a lot of the stories from a lot of these, how hard these guys worked and how they starved.
Literally,
they all shared apartments. They
slept on the floor.
Ate a pack of bologna between the two. You know? I mean, just.
But that's also, you know, it's those struggles that make these people, you know, the incredibly musicians that they are, because they have to work for it. They have to sacrifice everything for this, and that's what's wrong with today's music. Is that there's no sacrifice.
Just handed to them.
There might be a little, but
I'm not saying there are a couple bands
sacrifice.
out there.
I mean, I think the level of sacrifice is a little bit different. Are you willing to live in a rat-filled apartment?
Are you willing? And it takes some years.
And they live down there and do that.
Whereas I think the problem with today's music, like, unfortunately, you know, shows like American Idol have destroyed music. And it's because they no longer look for the musician. They just look for a face and a voice. And if they don't have the voice, they can auto-tune it.
Being in radio as long as I was and all that, the one thing that I did notice is the overproduction. Everything's overproduction. It's cookie cutter, copy cut, you know, paste, and okay, you're a face, we put a song here, you know. And then another thing that came along that really helped these artists out was called auto-tune.
Yeah.
And you go back and you look, these guys didn't really have it.
No.
They had some boxes, they had some other things, but a lot of what you get in the voice, Steve Perry is one of them. Steve Perry never needed that.
Yeah.
No.
You know, but and I thought Stephen Percy, he can still sing like that today. How?
With all the drinking and smoking that he's done, I wonder that sometimes.
Well, that's the thing. You hardly ever see an interview and he doesn't have a smoke. He's just like, I gotta keep my voice like this because
he really does sound like that. It's true.
At least he's not.
But so no, I appreciate you guys letting me jump in on that.
Glad you could throw in some input and throw in a
like you said,
fantastic song, man.
Hit that like and subscribe button. I like
that's right.
Smash the heck out of
that. And you know, I've really appreciated these episodes because you know, we are true fans of the 80s, and anybody who's a fan of the 80s is a friend of ours.
And I appreciate you guys coming in here.
Let me glad you could come on.
I got a perfect segue, so go ahead and do your thing.
All right. So you're telling me to wrap it up is what you're telling me.
Well, you wrap it up and then I...
Okay. Well, he's going to close us out.
Okay, he's going to close us out.
All right.
Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Lost in the 80s. I'm Johnny B.
And I'm Bretman.
I'm Ratt. I really appreciate you guys letting me stop on by to lay it down with you.